So our last problem, they're asking us to use GCF and to solve. So we're doing two things. We're going to factor using GCF and then solve. So our first step is to look at the equation and basically put a little fraction bar under each part, each term. And so I see that there's no number in common, but there is a letter in common in each three terms. So I can take out at most one x. So x is our GCF, and then I do some mini division problems. So I have x to the third divided by x. So if I had three x's, I took one out, I'd have x squared. The next one, the 6 days, I had two x's, I took one out. That leaves me with 1x minus 9, and the x's on this last one cancel because they're the same on top and bottom. So we did the factoring, and now we're going to take a look at the solving part. So that was factoring, and now we're going to solve. So I take each part and set them both equal to 0. So x equals 0, and then x squared plus 6x minus 9 equals 0. We don't have to do any math on the first one. X equals 0 is done. That is one of your answers. On this problem, however, we do have to do the quadratic formula. So we're going to label our A as 1, B as 6, and C as negative 9. So I'm going to plug this into the quadratic formula. X equals the opposite sign of B, negative B, so negative 6, plus or minus the square root. First parentheses B, so 6 squared, minus 4 times the A value, which is 1, times the C value, which is negative 9. Make sure you bring that sign with it. And then 2 times the A value, which is 1. Once you have your numbers put into the formula, then we're taking a look at the numbers in that under the square root. So I'm going to go to my calculator here really quick, and I'm going to type that into my calculator. So I have parenthesis 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 9. And I get 72 as my answer, so I'm going to replace everything under the square root with the number 72. So I have x equals negative 6 plus or minus the square root, and I'm going to put 72 in its place, and then I'll do the math on the bottom really quick. 2 times 1 is 2. So we have to ask ourselves two questions. Is it a negative? If it was, we would take out an imaginary I to make it positive, but in this case it is not. And then we want to know, is it a perfect square? So I'm going to put in my calculator, I'm going to clear out what I have currently, and I'm going to do the square root of 72. If I get a whole number, it would be a perfect square. I do not have a whole number here. It's a very long decimal, so it's not a perfect square. So that means that our answer is done.